Hello my scrappy friends and a big welcome to my YouTube channel. Again today it's Melinda Sweetman here with you with my newest share for Traci Reed Designs. This is the layout that I'm creating. It is a Traveller's Notebook double page spread and I am playing with the Aflutter collection. Life has been pretty hectic out here, around here, and I'm finally getting dug into this beautiful collection once again. This is my second layout with this, I think. Could be my third, but I think it's my second. And I'm scrapbooking this photo from 2021. It is obviously me. And it was my first week, I think, at my job. It's not a new job anymore. It's been almost 2 years. But it was my first week at my new job back then. I always print some of the embellishments from the digital kit because I love them. And this embroidery hoop is from the digital kit. You can see I've printed that fairly big. I knew that I wanted to include a photo in it. It is a beautiful wood grain in this collection. So yeah, I printed that. You can see that it is cut off on one side, and that was user error. I printed it too close to the edge and lost the edge of it, but that's okay. I can work with that. I'm going to cover it up. I'm using these two Traveller's Notebook patterns in my background. The one on the left is a regular Traveller's Notebook pattern paper, and the one on the right is one of the Traveller's Notebook signatures. They're super fun. I love them. Now you will have seen that my photo at the beginning looks different. I didn't like, after I finished my pages, I punched holes and I popped it into my album, and I was not happy with them. Actually, I didn't punch holes, sorry. I put them into page protectors, and I didn't like the big gap between my title. It just didn't read properly. So I have added on a Traveller's Notebook pattern all the way around the edge, and then I've added a strip of blue pattern paper. It's one of the Traveller's Notebook papers again. Just one of the solid colours to the edge so that I can punch the holes and pop it straight into the rings instead of into a page protector. I hope that makes sense. Once I got my photo into my frame and I used my little template there to cut out my title, which was a 3x4 journal card, I decided that I was going to run with circles, which is something that I know I struggle with, but I figured, you know what? The perfect answer, if you struggle with something, is to add more. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I've pulled out my punches and I'm punching a bunch of different sizes in, I think, 4 or 5 different patterns. But I left this bit in. If you ever have trouble with your punches tearing instead of punching, grab some alfoil from your kitchen and you can just punch your punches on that, and it will sharpen the blades again and make them cut much better. It's a fun little trick that I learned years ago. Not everyone knows about it, but there you go. I'm just going to get rid of all the scraps, and then so I've sorted all of my little circles into the different sizes that I've got here, and I'm just going to play with placement here. I wasn't really particular about where I was putting the circles. I just didn't want two of the same pattern next to each other, and I end up surprising myself. Actually, I ended up with making sure that I kind of made a visual triangle almost with all of the different colors and patterns. So you'll see I start doing it this way. I thought I was going to go for more of a horizontal line across the middle, but you'll see in just a sec that it ends up going like swooping up on the right hand side. And yeah, here we go. I'm like, you know what, I think I prefer that. I'll swoop up from the bottom left up to the top right. Yeah, that's correct. And I will just run with that. So you can see I'm just playing with placement, the size, the colours, and you can see I'm just kind of tracing that line with my finger. I do leave a lot of this process in, but I don't leave all of it in because it is much of the same. I also do not include me sticking these down, but what I did before I stuck them down, because there's so much pattern and so much happening, I did get my Distress Oxide in Black Soot and a little foam ink blending tool, and I inked the edges of all of my circles. I also end up inking the edges of the Traveller's Notebook papers, and I'm pretty sure it's just those. I don't do the extra embellishments that I add. I knew that I was going to get this to a point where I was happy with it, and then I had all of the rest of the embellishments to come in with. You can see here that I got to a certain point and I was like, I need something else here. So I pulled in a different pattern. I've got this light blue with the little buttons on it. It's so cute. And you can see I'm just adding a couple of those in, and it just takes a little bit of a rejig of some patterns. And I'm really happy with how that's looking. Just get it exactly the right place. Just playing with these a little bit more. I'm really happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to go in and stick everything down. In just a second, it's going to cut forward. It's all stuck down. All of my edges are inked. I'm just sticking my title. So you can see I've just got some foam tape on the right hand side. I'm going to stick that side down and then trim it off. I was really particular here. You can see I'm moving it around. I wanted to make sure I covered up that straight edge of my embroidery hoop, but I also wanted to try as hard as I could not to cut straight through any of those letters. There's enough of a gap between the H and the O and the R and the A and the for today that I should be able to cut pretty close to right in between those. I don't quite get it exactly 100%, but it's fine. But like I said, I didn't like the way that it sat in the page protectors with the gap. It just didn't read properly. It was totally like not joined together. It's the only way I can think to explain it. Just trimming off the excess here because obviously I don't need those extra bits. Like I said, I thought I was working on inside a page protector, changing things. Thought I would keep it in because I change things all the time. Often I don't keep all of it in, but I thought it would be well, considering I didn't record my process of pulling the bits up to stick more under. So yes, I needed a little bit more of that blue, so I've just cut myself another blue circle. I'm going to ink the edges up because I haven't done that yet. Just lift that up a bit more, and then I can pop that one underneath. I do add a couple of the off-cut bits back in. Just felt like I needed a little bit of extra balance of colour. But this was a fun layout for me to create. Like I said, I do struggle creating with circles, but I had a lot of fun doing something different and something out of my comfort zone. So here I go, inking the edges. I just made sure I didn't ink the middle edge because I want the whole spread to read as like one spread rather than two separate pages. And I thought that the black worked well because that journaling card has got black splatters on it. And what I've got on my desk at the moment is the embellishments from the digital kit that I printed out, but they didn't work except for that one wood veneer butterfly. So I'm going to put all those away, and then I've gone through the rest of the stickers. I've pulled out florals and butterflies, thinking that that's what I would use, and I only end up using a couple of pieces. Knew I wanted a floral in here, so you can see I'm going to play with that for a little minute. Try a couple of different things. I end up going with a pink floral, and the reason I'm a pink girl, but the reason that I went with this particular flower is I like the way that that bottom leaf kind of curls around the circle. It's not super obvious, but to me I was like, oh, it's kind of hugging that circle, so I'm going to use that there. I'm going to add my journaling in here, so I'm just drawing it in with my T-square ruler, and it is just saying how I was surprised that after all these years I ended up back at my job that I ended up at. I thought I'd left for good, but apparently not. And I wanted to add some splatters, so just something different you can do. If you just smush your ink pad with the lid onto the inside of the lid, you can get a little pool of ink. I just grabbed a wet fan paintbrush, covered up my photo, and I can just add my splatters in. Once I'm done, I just dry that off because I don't want to ruin my ink pad. I'm not sure what adding water directly to an oxide ink pad would do, but I didn't want to risk it. So I just wanted to add some more circles. So I've grabbed some black and white enamel dots, and you can see I'm just adding those on that same diagonal. I've only added a couple of extra pieces from the sticker pack. And then these enamel dots, and that is going to finish up my layout. You can see I muck around with them a little bit. You can see I'm counting them and making sure that I like where their placement is. I didn't quite have the right number. I'll pop that there and then change my mind, as you do. And yeah, so you'll see in the photos that it does have the border around the page and then the blue on the outside. And I much prefer this. It looks much better in my album. So I hope you enjoyed the close-ups. I hope you've enjoyed my share today. If you have any questions, please make sure you drop them below. As always, thank you so much for choosing to spend your scrappy time with me. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you have a fantastic scrappy day. I'll see you in my next video.